Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to use the add-on ReforgeLite. This add-on's really cool because it mathematically calculates how you should reforge your gear and utilizes the stats to the best of its ability. So I'm going to show you a couple of things and why this add-on is so important. For whatever reason, Blizzard sometimes has 2 units of measurement for certain stats. For example, if you look at my hit is at a little bit over 8% right here, and you'll see that the hit is measured in a percent, right? Now if you scroll over, I think my relic has hit on it, you read that increases your hit by 43. So it's not in a percent and it gets kind of screwy, so sometimes when you're reforging these, you're actually losing a little bit of stat because you're not calculated right. What I do know is that for hit, you need 120.109 rating per 1%. So to reach the 8% hit threshold for raid bosses, you will need 961 hit raw. And then like that's an exception for Draenei, I think save a racial or something, but you know, it gets like kind of confusing. Another example is expertise. Melee expertise cap is 26, and well, you'll see on mine, because of a racial, my main hand is 26 and my offhand is 23. But at 85, you need 30.0272 rating per point of expertise. So to reach the soft cap for parry, which is 26 expertise, you will need 781 expertise rating. What's also a kick is that the expertise rounds, so sometimes there's like a rounding error for pets for hunters, I think, so you can't do the like 0.99% stuff. But the kicker for this is because it does round these stats, this add-on will utilize the stats most efficiently, so you can use those points in other places. Alright, so I'm going to give you a tour really quick. I'm already reforged, but I'm going to show you how to reforge a PvE spec and then how to create your own spec for PvP. But you're going to run in and talk to the reforger, and you'll see this window pops up, the traditional window, along with the add-on window, which is pretty intimidating to look at first. But the first thing to see is this arrow has your presets for all the PvE templates, and you can select whatever you want to. This area right here, and we're mostly going to concentrate on the right hand side, is like where all the good stuff is. These 8 boxes right here are your stat weights, and what a stat weight is a ratio as to like what stat is more important than another. These are 2 ratios, so 50 to 100 is the same thing as 1 to 2, but you can tweak these, change these, whatever, it's all gravy. These pull down menus right here are going to be your caps for like hit and expertise, etc. You can change that, whatever. This chart down here is when it shows you like what's going to change. So right now it's telling me that if I were to reforge with this spec, how it has right now, I would be adding a little bit of hit, and I would be adding a whole lot of haste, and I'd be losing some mastery and crit. And that's in a nutshell. This chart is very important to watch, and keep in mind that this add-on is a money hog. If you don't know how to use it right away, be prepared to spend a little bit of gold, but I assure you, once you understand how it works, you're going to be very, very happy with reforging your gear and how fast and efficiently you can do that. So let's do a PvE build really quick, and of course we're going to be utilizing the templates that this provides, specifically with the stat weights, but we're going with a mastery over haste build, so we're still going to be changing it a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring this pull down menu, Frost, Death Knight, Dual Welding, and it pops all your presets there. And let's go ahead and just hit calculate to see where we're at. And remember, I'm already reforged, so let's hit calculate, and you will notice that it is stacking haste over mastery, and that is not what we want. So let's go up here to the stat weight boxes, and let's just stack the crap out of mastery. I'm going to put 300 in there. Also keep in mind you have to hit enter. As you notice, like the cursor is still in the box. It won't read the number. It like doesn't have it as entered, so you gotta go ahead and hit enter, make sure the box is good to go, hit calculate, and what do you know, the build is the ideal build of what we want. You'll notice a little bit that it is taking like -3 haste and +3 expertise, and that's that stochastic element that everybody who uses Mr. Robot complains about. But what is 3 haste gonna really do? Not a whole lot, especially when you're utilizing your hit and expertise numbers so that you are reforging those caps the most efficient way as you possibly can. You'll also notice too that if I hit calculate, it will change the numbers a little bit. So you're kind of like, oh, you know, what the heck? It's adding hit and adding haste and taking away crit. If I hit calculate again, I didn't change it that time, but now it's changing the haste and expertise. And yeah, like I said, those are small. Like it's still a change, but they're so small, and because your hit and expertise are utilized so well, it really doesn't matter. But if you're really anal, I suppose you could sit here and click and be like, oh, I need to get some more haste out of this. Whatever, not a big deal. Go ahead and tinker around with it. Then when you finally get your spec how you want to, you're going to hit this show button. And as you can see, everything that has a check mark is reforged correctly to how you want it. If it doesn't have a check mark, it means that that is a piece that needs to be reforged. Now let me change this really quick so you can see what it's like when it wants to reforge something. So say I'm a prop paladin, and let's calculate this, and of course it's adding dodge and all these crazy stats that prop paladin would use. But if I hit show, you'll see that I only have like 8 pieces reforged correctly. This is what it wants to change, like my bracers. It wants to change this crit into dodge, and to reforge all this is going to cost me like 220 gold. The nice thing about this add-on as well is if I hit the reforge button, it will do everything in like 1 click. So you can reforge stuff really, really fast once you get to building specs, pretty quick and efficiently. And even for alts, I'll use just the presets for alts. I really don't do the in-depth stuff because I'm not doing progression rating with a lot of my alts, actually any of them. But I know I'm like still reforged in the general area of being reforged well. I might not be perfect, but I'm still reforged pretty well. So that's like the really cool thing. Of course, you can like check and uncheck boxes, but be very cautious. Utilize your character screen to see what stats are changing. Write down some of the numbers if you have to, because you can drop a lot of gold into this really, really easy, especially when you start making your own specs. Alright, so here's where shit hits the fan and we are completely making our own reforging builds. Go ahead and jump into your PvP gear, which I've already done. Activate your PvP spec, go to the Reforger, bring up your character screen. I'm already reforged how I want to be, but I will show you what I did. And the build we are going to be using is going to be a stat priority of 5% melee hit cap, 195 spell penetration cap, resilience over strength or whatever, haste over mastery, over crit, over expertise. So you'll know that this is very different from the PvE spec in that our melee hit's different now. We have this fancy spell pen cap. There's no expertise cap. The secondary stat we're building around is haste. So what I like to do, first thing, I like to use only the stat weights and I like to tweak them how I like them. So let's go ahead and frost dual welding. This is PvE, but we only want the stat weights, so let's get rid of these caps. Gone. Dunzo. First cap, we want our melee hit. Now here's where like the fine-tuning gets in. For Death Knights, there is a talent called, I think, Nerves of Cold Steel, which will give me 3% hit automatically. So I actually only need 2% from my gear because I'm already getting 3% from talents. So let's go ahead and you want to click this pull down menu, add a hit cap, we want at least a certain number, and we're going to make it, you can use the PVE caps, but they're obviously different. And this next one is going to be the cap value. Now, like I said earlier, we know I only need 2%, but we know for 1% of hit is 120.109 rating. So we're going to multiply that by 2, 1 for each percent of hit that we need, and we're going to get like 240.2 something. So let's just round and put it to 240. Enter. The second stat that we need to cap is spell pen. Well, we already have spell pen in gems and enchants. I think I have a couple of blue gems, and I have my back enchant, and we know that our spell penetration is already 196, so we're 1 point over. We're perfect, good to go. Resilience and strength, of course, are primary stats, so you can't reforge them. And haste, we see that haste is weighed more than mastery is. Crit is even less. And expertise, right here, oh, we see that's really high, and we want expertise weighed less than crit, so let's change that to maybe like 100, hit enter, because there's no longer a cap for that, and that's our build. Go ahead and hit calculate, and as you'll see, I'm already in reforged, but you'll also notice too, because when I was talking about you'll hit calculate multiple times, this won't change this time for the PvP build because I only have one cap that I'm reforging for. Whereas for PvE, you have the expertise and the hit caps that it's calculating, and that will sometimes give you that variation. That's why it's not changing right now. What we can also see is since we have a haste build, and we are going to like double check all of our stats first, which we see our priority is 5% melee hit, and that's at 5.13%. We have all of our spell pen, which we already checked. Resilience and strength aren't really too changeable. Mastery is like lower. Haste, we have a crap ton of haste, and that's pretty much where your reforging's at. So we can always see if we can squeeze, because if you'll notice, hit isn't, it can technically go lower. It can get closer to 5% without going under. So we can even type in here, let's change the haste cap to maybe like 200, hit enter and calculate, and see if we can squeeze some more hit out. No. Let's go ahead and try 300, enter, calculate. We can't squeeze out any more haste. So our build has optimized our hit cap, and now it's stacking haste, which is exactly what we want to do. And our PvP spec is all ready to go. If you hit show, frosty. The other thing to like know is really don't be afraid to sit here and mess with numbers, change the weights, sit here with your character screen, and make sure that you are reforging things how you want to before you hit that fancy reforge button, because you can dump tons and tons and tons of gold into this right away. It is not hard. But I'm going to go ahead and edit this, post it on the forums. If you have any questions, let me know. Some of the other classes I'm unfamiliar with making builds for, but I'm always willing to learn how to try, because this is my main, this is what I hardcore progression out on for raids. So my other tunes, I don't even PvP on anything else besides this, but my other tunes I just use the presets. So if you want some help tweaking that, let me know. We'll get it done. Really cool add-on. I like it more than Mr. Robot. And when you squeeze those extra stats out of caps so you can get mathematically as close to as you can, really makes a hell of a difference. Plus, you can reforge really fast if you need to, you know, change a spec or whatever. That, like, I'm telling you, that one-click reforge all is pretty badass. But any questions, let me know and we'll figure them out for you. I'll be posting some more add-ons too, so keep an eye out.